4:03 PM on Thursday, March 12th, and I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order. This is a hybrid meeting that is being recorded. I have with me in the room from the Finance Committee, Dean Nahadas, Andy Alderman, Maury Creighton, Peter Twining, and myself, Sue Mellish. I expect far more to appear shortly. John Croft is not going to make it tonight. Also in the room is Andrea Mainville, Finance Director, and Ann Harrison and John Brown from the Select Board. Tony Barletta had a conflict tonight, so he won't be here. There's Garth. So the first item on the agenda is the Manchester Essex Regional School District budget. I think I sent it out to you today, and it's the one dated March 3rd, which includes the final changes on the health insurance, and it was approved by the school committee. So on this handout, so we've already met with the school district. And on page 13 is the operating assessment calculation. Which for Manchester is a little over 18 million. They're saying the increase is 581, but I believe we were 40,000 over last year, so it's more like 540 for us for the increase. So it's not 3.33%, is more, what is that, closer to
3.01%.
3.01, so about 3% increase.
I think that's great.
Yeah. And as I recall from the original budget, there was circuit breaker money of 215,000. The health insurance is now under 10%. Isn't that right, Andrea?
I believe so, yes.
And what was the third thing?
Don't recall. I'm sure I think that's it. Of course, I'm on my laptop today.
Okay,
Well, it went down.
yes.
Yes.
So is there, oh, and the other thing is when the health insurance, this most recent wave, the health insurance is the thing that went down. And so they increased their contribution to OPEB up to 425. I think it was down at what, 350 was it? Or, yeah, it was in the threes, and so they've upped it to 425, and then the balance of the savings from the reduced health insurance, it's come back in the assessments.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do we have matrices to measure the efficiency and the effectiveness of our school department? I know this sounds absurd, so I will take the blame for that. How much does it cost us to educate a child in our, and I don't expect answers, I'm just raising these questions for fun. How much does it cost us to educate a child in our school system? And has that number increased or decreased over the years? And what is the metric we use, or does anybody use, for figuring out, is this a good education? And are we getting bang for the buck? I don't know what the derivation of that
Flying
thing is.
the state where it puts it in.
We're relying on the state.
Sean, DESE did an audit of them.
Yes.
When Essex wanted an audit to be paid for by Manchester and the Essex, and Manchester refused. We didn't feel there needed to be an external
Yeah.
audit. So the cost to educate a student has increased. And the way I calculate the cost to Manchester is I take the $18 million assessment and divide it by the Manchester students.
Seems reasonable.
And our total students are 622. So if I take, lost my page 13 now. If I take, what did I say, 632?
22.
22.
It comes up to 34,620.
Okay.
I don't know, I haven't done it, I just made that up. I just made that up.
My password, that didn't work.
$29,032.
Okay,
Okay, and
that's excluding the capital.
so we know the cost.
Yep.
And do we know the quality of the education? And again, this is
Measure that.
stupid. Yeah, I agree. You know, it's hard.
I think that's for us to measure. I think the challenge we have when we have a regional school district is we don't really have control over the education program. We can push back on finances, which we have done
Mhm.
over the years. Particularly a number of years ago when our assessments were going way up and Essex wasn't going up as much. Now Essex has been pushing back more, but I think that they're doing a much better job myself at looking at the budget and making it as lean as.
Yeah, when we had the superintendent here, I thought her answers were quite good.
Yeah,
And I said, "Are you satisfied?" And she said, "No, of course I'm not satisfied. We'll do better," which is great. I'm just, you know, being a, yeah, exactly. Those were the words I was searching for.
that, I did receive a newsletter from Lindsay Banks, and she did say that they're for the class of 2030. They're adding in, half a credit requirement in the arts area,
Great.
which makes sense.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's business
Yeah.
as normal. I think that they, on school choice, which we haven't been super supportive of because it costs us more to educate than we get in. She said their plan this year was to just replace the number that were graduating. And not increase the number.
But one thought on that is I just calculated a slightly different way. I just took the entire school population and divided by the total, which is combining Essex.
Including both towns.
Both towns,
Did
yeah.
you only include the residents or did you include everyone?
I included the 1,201.
The resident total is only 1,081.
That's
Right.
what there are other
But-
folks in there.
Yeah, but
So just the average cost per student is about $27,030.
That's an operating only, doesn't
Yes.
include the loans on the.
Doesn't
building.
include debt.
Yeah.
And then what's interesting is, I think like 5 years ago, that number was more like 23,000. But the denominator was bigger. I mean, they've lost 70 students
Right.
from, so, you know, you're dividing that, an increasing number by a fewer number of students. So,
and I insist on only doing the resident total because of the fact that with the school choice, we're not getting the revenue in to cover them, so
right.
I don't think we should be including them when we
Right.
count the cost.
Yeah.
Because they say it doesn't cost them anymore.
I mean, we
with
get
school
what,
choice.
7,000 or 5,000 per choice student?
5.
5. So 5,000, and if our average cost is 27,
Where were they?
it's a loss.
Here's
It's helping take a little bit off.
I think the goal though is they're not adding them if it's driving a teacher count, you know, so.
Right.
It's
So
the
we have
FTC.
capacity, unused
Right.
capacity.
So that's why I use the resident total
understand.
because I'm saying
But
That's the
just
true cost.
as a sub note on that, it is a lottery, right? And you could end up with somebody who has special needs.
In that case, the cost goes back to the sending district.
Only if it's out of district.
No,
Oh, both ways?
both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um,
So the other question I would have, and I'll stop after this, is should we have representatives of the student body come and be willing to talk about their experience
No,
in the school system
no.
to the folks in the town?
Or a
We-
teacher.
I
We,
am a teacher. Yeah.
we had a public forum or something at one point
Yeah,
over in the Essex cafeteria, I think. It was an absolute total disaster.
They had one at the high school.
Well, maybe it was at the high
I
school.
don't think it was a disaster. I think it was,
It was very lopsided. It was not,
but it was an opportunity for those students to speak up
Yeah.
to an issue that mattered to them. I think it's important.
yeah, but it was, it was when they were talking about dropping,
Yeah,
oh,
Something.
okay,
right.
some art,
Yeah.
music or.
yeah, something
like
like that, some
Several
program,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it just became a gripe session. It wasn't.
For the
it-
kids against the town.
It was long to fit
Teachers.
with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teachers, and I just didn't feel it was value added because it was not impartial.
Just,
And they were recruited
oh, of course, yeah,
to make their point of why the district budget should be higher.
Yeah. okay. All right.
I mean, kind of two thoughts on that is, I mean, anecdotally, I mean, I listen to this all the time and I ask people, oh, you've got kids in the school system. Are you happy with this experience? 14 times out of 15, they say yes. Our kids, we started at Brookwood. It didn't work. We're in Manchester. I know of one family who's had one person leave district, but for the most part, and our boys' contemporaries who all went to different colleges said we were amazingly well prepared, particularly in writing, critiquing other people's writing, and a lot of our fellow classmates in college were not that well prepared. So I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but I keep hearing that story, which is, I think, really, really good. The other thing is our job, as much as we'd like to pay attention to the school, they hand us two bills. They hand us an operating bill and they hand us a debt bill. And our job is to say yes or no.
To figure out how to. pay
Not
for it.
necessarily to go in and say there needs to be more French or let's
Yeah.
get the robotics team doing more.
Thing that people need to remember is the towns are merely approving the bottom line. The school district can make changes within their program any way they want, as long as they hit the bottom line. So for somebody to tell us what they're and many years, they tell us they're doing A and they end up doing B. And so it's not like we can logically make a decision on the budget based on what they're saying they're gonna offer, because they have the option of changing.
So I'd like to respond. Well, why I said great is because I think size matters and that we have a smaller district. And a lot of people like that, but it's going to cost more per student.
Right.
So I don't mind the comparisons with the state being a little bit higher because I like having a smaller school district. There's other benefits. One metric what we are competing with is parents, whether they're pulling their kids out to go to private school.
Right.
We have to keep our standards up to prevent that because that's a very,
Right.
So I think we're doing all right in that during COVID, we might have had some setbacks, but I think a lot of people are satisfied to keep their kids here. The other thing I'd like to comment on is the horror show that other towns have gone through recently with strikes that we don't have. And I don't mind making sure that doesn't happen because Beverly went through it, Haverhill,
Gloucester.
so we haven't had that.
That's a good point.
The only thing I do question is, they keep relying on reserves. And what keeps recharging these reserves that they rely on. I think their budgets are robust so that because they don't want to end up short, because that costs children. And what they do is they put a sizable amount every year back into, so,
Which is what we were doing before we cut back on our
Yeah.
revenue.
I mean, it goes to your comment about how they are talking about doing a certain thing and then things shift during the year. They end up doing some different things and there's, you know, the money moves around a little bit.
Well, they don't know how many students they're gonna have in each grade until October, long after the budget's been approved.
Yeah.
So,
It's a challenge.
School budget is a very complicated thing.
well,
Running
one
the
other
school
thing.
system.
To Maury's point, I don't think our job is to just rubber stamp or deny. I think we need to do due diligence to make constructive suggestions. I mean, I think that's part of our job.
well, and that's why we have the school district come in, so that we have the
Right,
opportunity to ask them
Right.
questions. That's the point of
Yeah.
that. Ann, you were gonna say something?
I've got about 17 things. Some students don't cost very much to educate. Some students cost $200,000, which I think is about the level and above which we get reimbursement.
Is that what the?
It's huge.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It may not be quite that big. It's at least
Hmm.
4 times the average per pupil cost that we have to swallow when we get a kid who needs a lot of help.
Well, I know there's a kid on my street who was going away for day school, and he's now in a boarding school year round.
Yep. And we have them until, we have them until they're 22.
Yeah.
So the number of students who are enrolled in the high school does not necessarily reflect what we're paying for. And this is not unique to regional school districts, even a city school district. The school district itself handles its education plan. And the mayor and the city council can cut their budget, but
They can't do anything about
they
it.
can't do anything about how it's spent. So that is not a unique problem that we got into by regional.
I have heard stories of families moving to town renting, whose children go to Landmark School.
We don't send kids to Landmark.
We don't?
No.
Okay, so that's not,
One of the decisions that the school made was that their special education would emphasize literacy problems. And that's what Landmark does. And I believe we are no longer sending anybody to Landmark.
because we have the
Unless,
facility.
I mean, because we have the capability.
There are examples of people that move into town temporarily to, you know, to be close to Landmark so their kids can go there, but it's independent of the
They
district.
could.
I'm aware of people who rented apartments, even though they owned a house in Gloucester, so their kids could go to Manchester
Right.
school, which.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
When Pam first started, she and a couple of other administrators were going around to apartment buildings, looking for buildings that were dark at 8 o'clock at night, meaning that they were not actually living there.
Mhm.
I think they've solved some of that. Yeah, they're very quite rigorous about making sure that people who are enrolled in the district.
I live here.
Really do
Living in the
live here.
district.
Okay, anything else on this, please?
No, but thank you, that the budget's down some.
Has Essex approved the budget? I mean, are
Yeah, do
they
we
gonna
need to
have
reapprove
pushback, do you know? Probably not.
It
It shouldn't
doesn't
matter.
seem to me like there's as much pushback as there was. I believe they're gonna have an override, but their total increase is 389,000. Plus, that's offset, and ours is offset some by a reduction in debt. You know, the net amount is a little less, but I believe they're still planning on an override, but I don't think it's contentious like it was a couple of years ago, even last year.
I had one last question on the budget on page 18. Bottom. There was some debt payment. BAN. Bond anticipation note?
Yeah, that's what we
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
So that is and I talk about it in my little write-up on the tax rate. That the bond anticipation note is what we're gonna be doing, during construction.
Right,
So we pay only the interest.
right.
And so, and the short-term rates are cheaper.
Okay.
And so then you lock in the long-term rates, either if long-term rates become less than the short-term,
Uh,
or at the end of the construction process. And we had a meeting this week. And it sounds like the school is gonna issue bans for the Essex School construction, which is not what they did on Memorial School.
Right.
Memorial School, they locked in long-term bonds because the rates were
Great.
lower, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas now the long-term are higher, so, and I think that, if you look at our debt service and the stuff that Andy has done regarding capital, that her assumption is on our capital projects is that it's gonna be bans in the early years until we finish construction.
So we're approving some funding for that project this year, FY
What
27,
project?
the elementary school.
No, it's going to be done in a special town meeting, probably in the fall.
Okay, that's what that is.
Yeah.
But this ban is related to the Manchester Memorial.
Yeah.
Elementary School. So then I talked to Michelle about the $650,000 ban. That's what you were asking about.
Yes,
And that's next year's, they're finishing up like some of the last paperwork and they're waiting for a reimbursement from MSBA so that that'll be paid off next year. So I won't see that again.
Yeah, because that's the other thing is the reimbursement from the state
Right.
Takes a bit.
is after the fact.
Right, yes.
And
Yeah,
so we don't want to do the long-term bonds
yeah, same thing Foxborough went through.
before the
Security.
reimbursement, yeah.
And I have the list of the changes in the budget.
Okay,
It's, they reduced 250,000 from circuit breaker. 255,000 in health insurance and then the OPEB decrease
Okay.
as well to make up those difference, yeah.
Yeah.
And what did they put into OPEB?
It was like 300,000,
Now they're doing
Right.
425.
425.
25.
It's
So they're still doing a little bit, but
That because they
Yeah.
had additional, health savings. I mean, we've had 3 iterations of their budget.
Yes,
And this most recent one has,
so they had 761,000 for OPEB and they dropped it down to 425.
no, they dropped it down to 300 and then they put it back up to 425.
Yes.
But now health insurance. Health insurance. Is. Less than. What was last year?
I had they said that their decrease in health insurance was 255,000.
From a prior bill, from a prior.
I thought that was the decrease of their estimate, from their estimate. No,
The first time,
prior.
and it's come down again.
Oh, I see.
And what this is showing. Is health insurance. Benefit rate increase and other insurance has dropped 69,000. So that doesn't make sense to me. I believe Michelle said it came in at under 9% increase. We have 9.
Well, at page 11, it shows it being 10%.
Okay, thank you.
For
I don't know if it probably is on LinkedIn, but it's a good estimate.
It is.
It is locked.
That was my understanding. It's locked in, that they got their final number. Okay. Page 13. Do I have a motion to approve the school operating budget in the amount of 18,058,187.50?
So moved.
Second. Maury seconds. Any more discussion? Vote, Gar,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Andy.
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. It's the right number, right,
It
Andrea?
is triple check.
And then later is the capital budget. Because I'm looking for the total. I swear I saw a total.
Page 18 on the second box from the top.
Okay, thank you. So the total is 2,573,924.
I have a little bit higher, but I think that's. We should go with their number. The amortized. Which I didn't include.
What?
I have 2,590,000. I didn't think they had the original bond anticipation principal and interest and the amortization.
Yeah.
The premium.
So
So
you think
this-
this
I think this is-
2,573 is accurate?
Yes,
This page 18.
it is, yeah.
If
and
just
if you
adding
scroll
up the Manchester amounts, there's 4 boxes.
No, up at the second box down at the
Scroll up a
top
little
is the
bit.
total.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
right there.
right, yeah, okay.
It's the one without the green bar on the top.
So just out of general curiosity, Andy, do you have an idea of what Essex Elementary is gonna look like? Because I mean, just kind of looking at this, just as a heads up, we're about $1 million finishing up the high school debt, which will go through about 2030, 2031. And we're about 1.5 million a year, 1.5 million a year through 2045 on Essex Elementary.
Okay, the meeting I went to this week, which was talking about the funding, was talking about doing maybe $1 million ban May of 27. So that would be a one, so we pay interest on $1 million at like 3.5%. And
27.
May of 27, $1 million for the work to be done. It may be less than that, Andy, but
It's a year from now.
I'm trying to correlate that with when construction is happening and it's
I
not.
think that's for something to do with design, maybe.
Oh, so additional design services beyond the feasibility study. Oh,
Right.
Okay.
The design service is beyond the feasibility study.
Yep, no, that makes sense.
And that would be about, that might be $1 million to cover the costs for a year.
Mhm.
And then,
And the interest is due at the end of the year.
right, the interest is due at the end of so that the interest payment would be in fiscal year 28.
Mhm.
And then they talked about another ban being issued in 28
Mhm.
to take the $1 million plus what they need
Right.
for construction. And
What kind of a number is that?
they said 15 million, but I don't know if that's accurate. And this is for the total school, not just Manchester.
I understand.
And they were saying that you can do bans for up to 10 years. But starting in year 3 or 4, it wasn't clear to me which was accurate. You have to start paying 1/28 of the principal. So they were talking about continuing to look at long-term rates versus short-term rates and continue using bans as long as those rates were lower.
Right.
So,
mean, my
and
general-
they have a whole schedule, which
Right.
I haven't received yet. And they were fine tuning it based on input they received this week, but they're gonna have a whole schedule for us of
So, that-
anticipated costs each year.
yeah, I think the general just question I'm asking is, we're sort of looking at about 2.5 million a year on 2 existing schools. And those run for I'm less interested in what happens in the next 1 year or 2 or 3. What happens year 5 to 30 going out?
That's the schedule we need to wait until we get. I mean, we can theorize about it all.
But
we
that's
want.
kind of the rough nature of the question. Do you think that Essex will be about the same cost as Memorial? And could we effectively just kind of double the number for thinking?
I think it's gonna be a little more.
The numbers they were throwing out, which I don't know how accurate those were, was a total of like 54 million.
Okay.
It was
That would be about the same.
53.6.
I was hearing higher numbers.
That's what they were using based on information they received, but I don't know how good that.
They're about to get some estimates on the various options that have
Yeah,
been.
they haven't made the
looking at-
decision yet as
Right.
to,
Which design, right?
they've decided, my understanding is they decided to put it on the same location as the current school. But they have not yet decided whether it's gonna be a new build or a reconstruction or some third option.
Or code upgrades. So they-
Code upgrade, yeah.
They have to, by MSBA rules, they have to look at code upgrade of existing, addition renovation, and then, new construction. And then, but they're not limited to looking at just one of those options. And so I think at the moment there's,
Don't know.
I don't know, like
So this is
7 or 8 variations.
broad brushstroke.
Yeah.
We're probably looking at like 1.6 million a year for Essex, if we just model after that for about 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, it might be more, might be less, but that's kind of the ballpark. So, and that would take us out to probably like 2050. The only reason I'm asking
That's
is, as we
30
think
year.
about
Yeah.
water treatment, moving and all these other things,
Yeah.
what's kind of on the table?
It's not a discussion for long-term capital.
No,
I
but I
mean, we've
think,
had this discussion before. We can't discuss it unless we're looking at real numbers. I think to theorize about stuff and raise the angst of people when we really don't have information.
I'm not trying to raise the angst. I'm just sort of saying, where do we think we're gonna be in 10 years from now? Where do we think we're gonna be in 5 years from now? That's what I'm asking.
And we need to get the numbers from Hilltop regarding their estimates of the cost for the school. Because they're going out every year.
Right.
And I think that's what we need.
Hilltop.
Hilltop is the bond.
Oh,
That's the
Bond
people
issue.
that do the bonds.
Financial advisor.
So another question though, that at town meeting, they agreed to fund the feasibility study. Do we need to get another approval to do the design or for the whole project before we
No,
start spending money
the
for design?
November special town meeting, it's my understanding that is to authorize the full amount anticipated cost of the school.
We'll be ready by then.
That's what they said.
Okay.
And then they'll make the determination as to how much they need to spend of that a year. So we just do the initial,
Okay.
from now on, we have one vote is my understanding.
You actually have 2.
Well, at the ballot box.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
but, you know,
So we're not voting to spend any of this design money at this meeting.
no,
So there'll be a special town meeting.
yes.
yeah,
And it's
Once they know what is,
targeted for May of 27.
no, there's gonna be a special town meeting in November of 26.
Right, but,
Once they know what the school's gonna cost.
right. And this ban is started for May of 27.
That's what they're assuming.
Right, okay, that's fine, that works, as long as we're
They
just
need-
bound to have a special
they
town meeting,
need-
that's all.
They need approval from the towns before they can start spending more money.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because it's my understanding they're using up most of the money that's
Right.
already been approved.
right, because we only authorized the feasibility
Right,
amount. And if for some reason one of the towns doesn't approve the project, then it's, it stops and they have to potentially re-engage with MSBA to kind of go back and get authorization to take another try.
yeah, Pam seemed to indicate that by April 29th of 27.
Yeah.
They're required to file some type of report
To the state.
to the state regarding whether the towns have appropriated the money.
Okay.
That's what it sounded like.
Oh, all right.
No, April of 27, April 29th of 27. which is why they didn't want to wait for an April town meeting
Right.
for the votes.
Yeah.
So
Most-
but they had, it seems like at the end of April of 27, they have to commit to the MSBCA, whatever it is,
MSBA.
MSB.
Yeah.
Whether or not the towns have approved the funding.
I'd like to go back to where Maury was talking about. And he wasn't saying we need to have exact numbers for our planning, but he was sort of saying, looking at the capital position and the debt position of the town over the next 20 or 30 years, which sounds absurd,
Right,
that we
and
could
that-
actually think about that. But those are the kinds of things that good planning require, and they're always wrong.
But that's,
They're always wrong.
that's 25-year plan we worked on last year,
And
and we haven't worked on it again this year.
correct.
So
So
we're gonna need to do that in the summer.
we are.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, I think we agree on that because we need to have
Why do
a
you want,
big picture of where this town is gonna be
And that's
50 years from now.
what we worked on last year,
Right.
to do, putting in all of the projected
Absolutely. And
projects.
we know a lot of the numbers won't be right, but,
Right, yeah.
we're gonna try to use these,
and it
a thick crayon.
in dollars, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was big money.
Yeah, and so it's worth taking a look,
Right.
obviously. Thanks, sorry.
it might affect some of the capital projects I want to approve this year.
We've already voted on the capital budget
Yeah.
for this year.
Well, you said there was something on the agenda. I mean, we still have to deal with town meeting.
We voted on the capital budget. We're not gonna.
Was my vote included when I wrote into you?
Were you at the meeting?
I gave you my notes. I was late at where my plane is.
Yeah, so if you're not at the meeting, you don't get to vote.
Well,
Because
my
you,
notes should be included with the minutes, right?
no, they weren't part of a public record.
So, but I do agree that we need to have a overall look at where we're going, and we have to move the sewer plant to.
But we don't need to do that.
No, we don't, no, but those are the kinds of what ifs that we should be folding into a strategic,
Right.
long-term plan.
And I think it will help us a lot when we get more definitive numbers on the school building. You know, because we have flexibility on when we do
Right.
some of our projects. And we'll discuss that a little bit when we come up to look at the warrant. This is a little footnote in there, which is of interest, and I had a discussion with the town administrator.
So you have a motion for capital in the amount of $2
Could you just
$2,573,000.
repeat the number? Is it the number in the sheet here or is it the one?
Yeah,
that-
it's page 18, $2,573,924.16.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Any more discussion? Vote, Gar,
yes,
Dean,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes,
Maury.
Yes.
Peter, and Sarah votes yes. Okay, and if we look at where's the budget? Does this May 5th one have those new numbers?
Yes.
Okay.
March fifth.
March 5th. It's page 53.
don't rush it, Sarah.
It would be through town meeting.
We'd be done.
It's adjourned.
Okay, 53.
For Essex Tech.
Yeah, because we got to vote on this anyway, because of Essex Tech. So you're gonna change this number for the bonding, is
I
that
am.
correct? The 2573.
Yeah.
Okay. 2573,124. And so the school operating went up 525. But the debt has gone down 75,000. Right?
Right.
So the net increase is 450. Which is what percentage? Do we know? It's certainly much more reasonable.
.2%.
The increase came in under. 2.2, that's too low,
Does.
but
I did it right. And clear.
So the
it should be
the 176
It should be-
compares to the 194.
20,632,111 divided by 21 million.
Well, the delta is shown in that last column.
Right, but we've changed the numbers.
Yeah.
What page is this on?
53.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is the budget from your
Her book.
her book from
March
From-
5th.
March 5th.
So the
Education.
debt needs to be reduced to the 2,573,000, which I'll do. We'll get 2.2.
Okay. So now. North Shore Technical changed. Do you
It
know
did.
why that changed?
I had estimated more students. So we had an estimate, I put an estimate of 194,060 based on this total school per student number. But actually we have 8 students, so the amount came in less.
Okay. So I might need a motion to approve the North Shore Agricultural and Technical School in the amount of 435.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, any discussion? That's for 8 students.
Correct.
Vote, Gar,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
yes,
Andy, Lori,
Yes.
Peter, and Sarah votes yes. So that is just out of. That is 171,435. That's 21,429%.
I understand it's very hard to get in there now. I wonder if that
They've
keeps
changed it.
students down. I mean, if they went to Wakefield or another one.
No, they've changed the whole program. It's now based on a lottery. No eligibility per se. And Manchester has 10 slots
Okay.
Each year.
for each grade. So we currently have a total of 8 students there.
All the grades. are-
Wrong
We
grade.
could have 40.
Right, so we should.
Um,
priority.
which obviously will impact the school district if they lose 40 students, but it will be some each year, and if we don't use all those slots,
We don't have to pay for it.
then they go back someplace else.
That's fine.
So
Back
pays
in
for
the
them.
line. Yeah,
Okay. Good.
because for years, we paid for 5 students, even though we had less than 5 students, because there was a minimum charge for 5 students. And I don't know, I don't have any information on how many students from Manchester have applied and
Right.
not been accepted, right? I don't know what.
I-
It's not a huge number, I don't think, but maybe if it doesn't, maybe if they don't look at grades and don't look at a whole bunch of stuff, maybe more people will apply. Maybe it was intimidating for people, I don't know.
I think there's a group from Essex that goes, appreciates it. More from Essex.
Okay.
Next.
Do we have any budget edits?
Yes, I don't have final numbers. Until next week. I was talking to Chuck and he's putting together numbers for snow and ice. Currently, with the numbers we have right now, we're looking at a $200,000 deficit. We're already looking at the legal line deficit, probably around $100,000. I don't see right now that I have $300,000 of money that I could possibly transfer at year end. So they're finalized putting some of the numbers together. We're getting some of the last minute, vendor invoices in to see what the total cost would be for that, but it'll be in the 200,000.
More than what we budgeted or.
More than what we budgeted, yeah. Yes,
It was a bad year.
yeah.
So.
Mine was more than what I budgeted also.
Kind of adjust around, carry it over, when you carry it over to next year, or what, how do you deal with?
So normally, if it's like a smaller deficit, normally I can do those year-end transfers and cover it.
Right.
And I prefer to cover it in the fiscal year that if we can, because otherwise, if I carry that deficit over at the end of the year, I have to raise it on the tax recap in the fall. And then as part of our free cash calculation, they reduce our free cash.
So they can
So it's like a double hit.
Yeah.
So if we can head that off and, use free cash now, then we don't have to raise it on the recap in November.
So you're contemplating having an article at the April town meeting to fund the 26 snow and ice.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
That's
what I was gonna add.
Article
And
13,
you,
I was wondering.
you have to have that, in writing quickly, if you missed a deadline, are you coming up on a deadline where you can do that, or can you toss that in like right?
We can toss it in before. So Tonya met with legal and we have an article in there right now that says to transfer a sum of money
Yeah, to be specific.
to be specified. And so then in the motion, we can say,
Got it.
so we could get that in, a week before town meeting. Because I'd rather vote the exact amount and not, more than we need.
Yeah, and not carry it over and have an effect for cash.
And then another item that came up, actually this week was another prior bill, but I'm working with the vendor on that
So
to see,
still,
to see what.
What's
we
the
can do
rush?
with that.
How much?
Right now, he's, I've heard it's around $10,000. It's 2 years worth of bills that he didn't get into us, but we did ask him for it. So
Does there come a point when we don't pay it?
we can say no, and then they can take us to small claims court, and then we pay them plus like the legal fees and things like that. So sometimes it's worth it just to,
Hey,
Is this an important vendor?
it relates to town meeting. The AV vendor,
it's what?
Oh, boy.
yeah, audio, visual.
I guess we
technical.
need AV.
Yeah.
A quiet town meeting is a hard
Yes, a little
town
bit,
meeting.
yes, yes.
Machine didn't work, did they?
So,
16 studio?
no,
Oh, you're using somebody else, okay. Who doesn't do their invoices?
But they failed to
No.
bill us or something and
correct,
let it slide.
yes.
Great management.
Yeah.
This is the bills that are supposed to be to us by like July 14th or something of 25, right, or whatever the date is.
So the money for that theoretically went into the rain barrel.
Correct. So far, that's all I have.
Okay. Okay. Now Tony sent us the warrant articles. They're not final. Because they have to go to select board on Monday.
Right.
So they'll be final, hopefully by our meeting next Thursday. And if you look at Article 5. You'll notice that there's a little comment. That says it did not include unfunded requests for the community center. AKA senior center. And the conversation I had was. So apparently the people raising the money are looking for more money to have more definitive plans. And my reaction was, well, last year. We gave them money to do schematics because they needed it to raise donations.
Right.
And I didn't think that the finance committee would support giving more money for the project unless and until they at least had letters of intent or something from
Were they
people
not
regarding.
able to do, to
They
create?
had passed.
I think your instinct was pretty good. In this regard, that just,
And it,
you know,
it-
personally speaking.
it's my understanding that the total cost has also risen. And that now they're talking about using portions of it for the town, so therefore maybe the town should fund a part of it.
Yep.
So this will be a subject next year.
What size senior center is left?
So, but this is something brewing and they don't have final numbers, but I think the estimates went up quite a bit. I can't remember. Was it 5 or 6 million or am I making that up?
No, I think it's a little bit more than that now.
Oh, okay.
Do we know if
Is
the
that scope? Sorry.
PNS has been signed?
It's not.
I'd wait on this. I mean, this is.
That's what I said.
Frankly, this is bad management. I mean, when you, this is
It
this
reminds
is what
me of-
people lose their
reminds me
roles for on boards, for making decisions
reminds me
like
of the-
this.
Of the ramp project.
Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
program.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Is the increase in the estimates, is that scope driven or like, are they changing the program, they're doing more or
Inflation.
No, I believe,
just?
I could be
escalation?
wrong, maybe so you can speak some more about this next week, but from what I've been told, it's the architect that they were using, they wanted to have like professional estimate companies.
Estimator.
And then that came in back much higher square foot dollar figure.
So
From
they
the
projected
original
a different
plan.
number that had been carried.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the little wood frame building over by the train station?
Oh, that is being leased to a company.
Uses it for storage,
Yeah, uses it for storage, but they sell
games.
antique games.
Do we get income from leasing the building to them?
We don't own it.
It's not,
No, it's owned by the condo,
Association.
because
I thought-
they own the land and they succeeded to the ownership of what was on top of their land.
Oh. They stole it from them.
No, they didn't steal it.
We never
That's the
owned
way the world works.
Because we didn't move it. They asked us
No.
to, but we didn't.
No, that's not right
We
either.
do With the town,
Yeah.
Okay.
just to make it clear.
That was
It was
the
the-
finance.
No, it was the community center
Right.
board
Okay.
as it was.
So we lost it.
Andrew, is there some, what is going
So
on
I-
with purchase and sale? Do we have,
I'm
is this still being negotiated? Is that what's going on?
There were
I'm not
details,
sure.
there were details still being negotiated. I don't know what that means.
I don't need to know it.
But there is apparently a red line draft that the Masons had not signed off on any of the red lines that they had agreed to. So it wasn't clear what issues were still outstanding. What weren't. Hey, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, so it's still being, and document is still being negotiated.
Yeah.
And where is the decision lie with the select board?
It's the
or-
attorneys.
Right, the attorneys are trying to iron out issues, because we have to anticipate issues that won't come up for 25 years. What happens if the Masons decide to move out and put in another Mason lodge there versus if the Masons decide to sell? Versus if the Masons decide to lease it to somebody who's not a Mason. And there are also some issues around the time between we sign the purchase and sales and the time we finish the reconstruction. And who gets to use what. In particular, we're taking over their blue room. They get a new blue room, but until we start doing the building, they have to use their current blue room, which doesn't leave us with a lot of space. So, other than that, I don't think there are more than 50 or 60 small questions.
So this could go on for another year or two.
Oh,
or
yeah,
three.
could go on
We
for-
should just sort of like, I think, focus on this.
We'll have a whole
Something
new
gets,
generation.
Yeah,
of
something
elements.
gets resolved.
Obviously, Tony thinks that they are within a very few questions of closing, and they have told him that they will close by the end of March.
I think we heard that last year.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we restored the funding to the van, the Council on Aging van, and, doing what we can for these poor seniors. Because they paid $1 million. They were.
You didn't pay anything.
No,
We did.
We
Yeah,
did,
well, guess
yeah.
who paid for that?
We haven't paid it
Seniors
yet.
that lived here. for
Yeah, we
30
haven't
years.
paid it yet.
Oh, we haven't.
No, it's still sitting in the coffers.
We could blow it up.
Sad story.
it is. Well, anyway, I think your instincts were accurate
Okay.
from my point of view.
Well, we had been so contentious about last year when we had to appropriate something. As I recall, we dropped the number from 100 to 50. And I didn't see why they needed more detailed plans. They've got floor plans. I don't
So
know,
they were able to do what they sought to do, which is,
plans. They've got everything. I don't know what else one would need to raise money.
What did they want, renderings? Or something?
They've
Like-
got those. No, they
Do they have those?
were looking for costs for construction documents.
Yeah, they don't need that.
And they
Right.
Okay.
thank you. Okay, got it.
I think they were operating on the theory that unless and until it was ready for construction, people wouldn't donate.
Oh.
And that's not how the real world works.
Is there still this notion that the town might front pay it and then they'd look for donations to pay the town back? Cause I don't think
I
that
don't
one's
know.
gonna fly
I don't
either.
know, Maury. I don't think they've gotten that far.
I think that's a non-starter, but.
I
that's my
think
personal
the
opinion.
issue is if they go out and get letter of intent, what volume of money is it? With respect to what the total cost of the project is. Is it, $1 million when it's a $6 million project? That could be problematic.
Back in the old days, T. Jefferson Coolidge gave a library,
Right,
and he just wrote a check, and I think they hired Shepley Bullfinch or whoever it was who designed it.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
right,
Remind the rock dress from Norwood Ave.
You bet.
yeah. We need somebody to do that. 6 million, 7 million, whatever.
We need to own the place first.
Need less complexity.
This is my throwaway, no wonder I'm getting these confused. Okay, so we'll do the warrant next week. Okay, so the other thing is I sent out this tax rate calculation thing,
Yes, you did.
which I was thinking of including this type of thing
I think it's good.
in the finance.
Yep.
booklet. And I was trying not to make it super detailed. So like I said, miscellaneous assessor, because I figured nobody cared about the, whatever those assessor things are. They might ask us what they
So
want.
the intent is, though, the larger intent is to give people a sense of how complex this is? Or what is the intent for including it, since it doesn't actually calculate something?
The,
And I suggest that people probably won't know most of these terms unless they've spent more time just being informed. And so,
well, Gar suggested
no,
adding numbers to it,
I hear that.
which could do. I think the intent is so that when people are voting on things, they understand what the impact is.
I don't think they do.
So my thought is, this is the kind of thing would be great if you had a question at the top. How do we calculate your tax rate? Or how does the town's taxation burden get figured out? And then this becomes the answers, maybe, or something.
Well, it's the something that, I don't.
The big thing that jumped out at me is we've never reviewed the estimated taxes to be raised from new growth or new construction and renovation, the assessed stuff. Have we ever audited that, or is that just something that they can plug in at will?
Andrea, how do you come up with that number?
Usually it's based on, permits that have been processed and like building permits and things like that. And then like, anything else that's been added as a property or anything hasn't been assessed previously that now has been created gets added to new growth.
And
So like if it's a
historically,
new,
we've been pretty accurate with that.
It comes through the
Yeah,
assessment.
we-
office.
Do what we're doing then.
yes, yeah, so I kind of do what I do with snow and ice. I take like the, 5-year rolling average and we've averaged about $200,000 and that's what I plug into the budget every year. And we're
So that is
usually about
the
around that.
taxes we've received from the increase in assessed
From new growth.
values.
Yeah.
Yes,
New growth, I say.
yeah.
But it's something like, I've never really looked at that. What it is, but
Well, I
it's
think
good to
that
know. Yeah, it was good for this.
it's like all the revenue,
Right.
all the revenue we receive that.
It sounds like a small thing, so it's not a.
Yeah, it's not a huge number and it's consistent. I think that if we had a year when we had CST come on,
Mhm.
then it's a much bigger number. But I think that a lot of that may be in the rear view mirror. That,
Yeah.
well, I don't think we know when they're going to be applying for a building permit. And that's big bucks when they do. Right?
Yes, but luckily, the DOR will let us, say they poured a foundation, we can say, okay, well, we have 25% new growth. You haven't finished the project yet, but you do have like the start of a building, so you can include that.
We usually do a separate building permit for the foundation.
Right.
And I think that one thing that Michelle does is for anything that's in the process of being built,
Yeah.
she goes and looks at it on June 30th and determines the assessed value of in-progress construction. And that's what's included in this estimate.
I mean, the big thing that's concerning is the downturn in that cell signaling technology industry. There's a big recession throughout Cambridge.
Which is why we're not including estimates for that revenue in anything we're doing.
Right.
We're hoping for it.
Right, we're not in.
Will be a bonus.
Yeah. And then I think as soon as they start applying for building permits, then I'm assuming we'll have a better idea of progress to assume as far as the impact on tax revenue. it'll be hard for Michelle because it's not like we have a lot of that type of property in town.
Well, I know we didn't have any money to do anything on Atwater Ave for next year, so it's at least that far away.
And can the money be assessed when the building permit is issued? You don't, you don't have. to-
So
It's
when the building
Building
permit's
permit fee.
issued, they'll be paying about 500,000 in fees, depending on
Right.
how valuable the project is. But then, once the construction goes along, she then makes an assumption of what she's gonna assess it at for the year through partial construction.
Partial construction.
And she usually goes out and, checks it to see, okay, how much has the, foundation been done, how much of, the walls have been done, things like that, so.
And she does that.
Fingers crossed.
I know when I was doing my addition, I was mad that they were slow, but then I said, oh, good, they're slow, it's not gonna impact my taxes, but guess what? She came out June 30th and it did impact my taxes. And okay, I guess I messed that up. Yeah, so it's, building fees are separate from the assumption on the assessed
Yeah,
value.
that was, my question was the latter part.
Yeah. And if Andrea knows building fees are coming in, then we can include it in the estimated revenue for a given year, but I'm not sure.
I usually have to have some kind of like concrete, like, we are definitely getting this in if I'm gonna use it as an
Yeah.
estimate, because the DOR wants something to say like, yes, like you have a good basis for
Yeah.
knowing that you're gonna get that money in.
So it's more likely that the building permit fees will end up in free cash.
Yes, exactly.
That's.
Exactly.
Any other comments on this?
I
type
thought it
of
was,
thing?
I liked it.
Okay.
I enjoyed reading it.
Okay,
I wasn't sure what it was gonna gain us, but I don't have any concern with it. It's fine. I,
well, and on the debt stuff, I was trying to explain the names and stuff so that,
I appreciate all the things you're trying to
And-
explain. To me, I don't know if it adds confusion. I don't know if it advances things. But it's fine to have it. It is clear in and of itself.
I look at it as a good jump on our annual newsletter.
I mean, I think the idea of adding numbers to it is, that could either go one way or another.
I was afraid it was too complicated.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, you could start with what's the impact on $100,000 of valuation? But this,
Well, wait a
I think
minute,
it could-
$100,000 of valuation.
I know. won't
You're
get you-
back in 1953.
No, I figure it's better than 1,000 because people can
No, I- no, you
multiply by
better go.
smaller numbers.
Better go to 1 million.
Do you ever
Right.
estimated tax rate calculation in the finance
Mhm,
booklet?
I do.
Yeah, so she's got the calculations in
Right.
in the booklet anyway.
To have the numbers.
They have the numbers,
Right.
and this is just trying to
I
explain
appreciate that.
it.
That's good.
Mhm.
I think
I think it's
I
good.
also-
It's a good roll up.
The
Mhm.
Department of Revenue has a finance management resource bureau that's fairly new. And they've really been working hard on putting like new videos and like up, and they have like short little like 2 to 5 minute videos on Prop 2.5, like what is it? And this is how your tax rate is calculated. So I don't know if you want to include like a link or tell people that that's there if they would rather see a video of it, or that's too much. Don't know.
Hmm.
We'll see, but it's very helpful. They have a lot. They've really been working hard on that.
Maybe that could go on the website
Yes.
where there's a live link.
Yes,
And we can find, we have a page, right?
right.
But it's not very well developed.
Good background.
Um, I'll have to look at that page.
Yeah, I can send you all the links to
Yeah, that'd be
the
great.
videos.
Because It's
Okay.
worth a look.
Will the project have to stop if we don't have enough bond appreciation in a certain year?
What are you talking about by project?
Like Essex Elementary, if we estimate, 20 million in a certain year and they go to 25 million, do we have to,
Okay, so
we'll pay the interest, I
let me step back. Okay, so on all of our capital projects, we're going out for an appropriation in order to bid.
Right.
The bid cannot exceed what we've appropriated. So we can't begin construction if it's coming in too hot.
Right.
We'd have to come back and get more money from town. And I think the same thing with the school is we're gonna appropriate the whole amount. And then it's gonna be up to the people running the building project to determine how much they need each year. And they can always issue a ban whenever they want.
Right.
So that if they estimated they needed 10 million and it turns out they needed 20 million, then they can issue a second ban.
Right.
For
They
a
just hit the
year.
Tax rate quicker than we.
Yeah,
But for the project as a whole, whatever amount gets approved by the MSBA this fall, and presuming both towns approve it, in their votes and ballot, if the ultimate bids a year later come in above that amount,
yeah,
then it would go back, they would pull some value out of it and they would rebid it.
okay. So they would get a new bid
Yeah.
down to what the appropriation
Yeah,
was.
the design team
Okay.
is responsible for delivering a project that,
Okay,
It's
is
the budget.
within
Yeah.
the vote,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So that would involve changing some aspect of the project to enable that?
yeah, value engineering in a bit, yeah.
Get rid of some of the glitz.
So,
It's rental space.
Okay,
Same
So what would you like on the warrant?
architect.
well, did people have a chance to look at it?
Yep. Did you want to go over which ones? Maybe,
It's gonna,
I mean, there are an awful lot on there that have to do with us.
I guess I'm a little confused. I thought we had to like
Oh,
park it until it gets revised.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, just park it for now.
Park it till
Park it.
next week and then we'll go through it. And I think ask people to look at it in advance.
Yep.
To kind of notate
Yeah.
those articles which you think might be appropriate for new recommendation.
And there are a lot.
Yes. And because most of the financial ones that are in here, we've already voted to approve them.
That's a little bit why I was asking the question, because we've already voted them. to
We have to, when the warrant goes to print in the FinCom booklet,
Yes.
we usually have a line at the bottom of each warrant article that says whether the finance committee recommends and whether the select board recommends.
No, I understand.
And that's all we're.
I didn't know if we
doing.
needed to do it again, that's all I was asking.
Yes, we have to do it on the warrant. Can't assume.
It makes meetings go faster when you've got that in print. When it's on town meeting floor, that's when you get all the questions. Everybody raises their hands and go, what do you mean by this or that? Usually.
Yeah. And, okay, so do you have anything that we need to cover, Andrew? No, so we're good. So we have fine tuning to do on the warrant. And these special articles, snow and ice and prior year bills.
Can we get an update on what specific capital budget edits to look into for next meeting? I mean,
There aren't any at this point.
Okay. It was on the agenda. But
Just in case.
I was wondering that too.
Like a placeholder.
That was operating in capital budgets, both of them edits if there were any, but there aren't any. At this
not yet,
point,
not till next week. Too early for edits.
right, if the select board changes something
Mhm.
from what we've
Right.
recommended, then we've got a dilemma. And these two items that she's still working on, the snow and ice and the prior year bills. Okay,
There was a minor tweak on the CPC, if you want a liaison update. I'll wait till that.
there's a tweak?
Yes, there was a tweak. We earmarked $16,000 for
Signs.
at Reed Park and Pine Street Field. The select board meeting, they wanted to include Singing Beach. And now the warrant is reading recreational signs, so it might be a number of signs.
Isn't there a different number?
No, it's still 16,000.
Oh,
It's just
okay,
the
okay,
scope, it's more than just what we voted on, I guess,
okay.
which
More signs.
makes sense for that number. 16,000 for 2 signs.
Yeah.
Okay, but the numbers are the same.
Yeah.
Do we need to revote it if?
No,
Yeah.
I think the numbers are the same. And plus, we're
It's just you
gonna,
have to be careful of those last minute wording slips when you're after things have been voted.
It's just more a question of just general curiosity, but CPC put the current sign in, I feel like relatively recently, and I'm
at
wondering,
Singing Beach,
yeah, I'm wondering how long we keep a sign at Singing Beach, or is it
I don't know.
a couple of years? Couple of years.
Kathy might have had a plan for something on Singing Beach, the select board. That's what I got in the notes, but. Yeah, just, maybe it's signs up Beach Street pointing Singing Beach this way.
Yes, the meeting, the question might come up on town meeting floor. I hope somebody's ready to answer it. That's just me preparing for the future.
Some new sign from Maury's house.
No, no, no. No.
okay. So. Peter has asked me to make the FinCom booklet shorter,
Yes, that's what I asked. I
so I'm
said,
gonna attempt to do that.
You already did it a few years back.
I did,
I know it's-
shorter.
well, I've been on long enough.
Shorter.
I've been on long enough to each time, they've all been shortened a little bit. I mean, and I'm very happy with the trend.
Like the trend.
I've tried to cut boilerplate every year.
Yeah,
You know,
me
the
too.
fluff that Greg.
Well, get rid, so I'll make a note, get rid of fluff. Should I thank people or not?
Of course.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's not fluff.
You can do it in one sentence.
Okay,
Thanks to everybody.
Two key players.
okay.
No, I think the thanks are really important.
Liaison updates, anything? We got CPC, anybody else have anything?
Nothing more than what's mentioned.
Okay. And where are we standing on the facilities stuff?
So, we met, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and I think Chuck actually came, we had a little bit of back and forth with Chuck last meeting, I think. He's not on
No,
today.
there doesn't seem to be a huge audience.
Yeah, but, so he was, he's trying to, sort of push forward a little bit on the question of DPW plus public safety.
Yeah,
And I did caution him that, in the conversations that we've had, that given the, the Essex project and some other things that are going on, that there might not be an appetite to tackle that project,
next year,
as soon as he's hoping.
yeah.
Unless he wants to put it at Pine Street Field.
Right.
We're full of things.
Andy, what is he hoping?
I think he's hoping to pursue one of those two strategies, either, at least a DPW up on the School Street site.
Within the year, within 2 years?
I think in his, if everything was on a glide path, I think he'd say, okay, let's appropriate the full design money this year and let's.
That gives me a sense of what the expectation is.
Yeah. But I don't, I'm not sure we collectively see that happening. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure if the select board has discussed any of those options. It'd be interesting to know.
If we could encourage them to do like their own plans as opposed to farming things out to third-party vendors, we might save enough to be able to,
They don't have.
they can stamp plans if he's a professional engineer.
But somebody's gonna
You
draw.
have to draw them.
Civil engineers.
Well, we have all this pipeline plans. Do we need to keep hiring someone to do more, or haven't they learned that we can just put together our own plan?
I think there's a lot of risk in that.
There is. But it's a small town, and that's usually how.
This is off the topic a little bit, but I was with the town of Reading today with the town manager. and the head of planning and the head of economic development. And we were talking about municipal service buildings like DPW buildings and fire department buildings. Because we have an interest in, I'm interested in the town of Reading. And so one of the subjects we talked about was whether Reading and Wakefield, because they're buttoned against each other, could build a garage. We were talking about a DPW garage. And whether, and the new woman, she's just been appointed as town manager, is really she's quite smart and enlightened. And she said, yeah, actually, that's a great idea. That is something that we're pursuing. And to try to figure out, are there some economies of scale that we could achieve by building a garage that we would mutually use with another town? And I said, it's funny because where I live, it's a tiny little town, and in many ways there might be economies that can be achieved by considering that kind of stuff.
I think perhaps if the feelers put out over time. And I think that, Essex certainly is the town that would make the most sense. And I get the sense that they're big on capital and like their own buildings.
Yeah.
They built a beauty going up towards Ipswich there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the numbers work out.
They're having trouble.
Okay.
Now they have to grow the town of government to fit it.
No, they have to keep the roof on.
Yeah, siding
Okay.
falling off.
Oh, dear.
Yeah,
Oh,
they've
dear.
got some construction issues.
So on that end, one of the things that I was, when both Essex and Manchester bought fire trucks, now we both need pumper trucks. I was wondering if there wouldn't have been,
We're
could
not,
one town get the
We're
fire
not
truck
buying a
and one
pumper
get
truck.
the pump? Well, I know, it's
we're
a need
engine.
engine truck.
We
but
don't
it's-
need the pumper truck as much as Essex because more of our people are on town water. They have huge sections of Essex that have no water.
Right, so they need,
So they need the pumper. It's my understanding, we don't need the pumper.
but with shared
Use them.
use, it would have been nice if one town had a new fire truck and the other town had a new pumper.
I agree.
We're trying to converge these departments.
I think there was an attempt at some dialogue a few years back,
Yeah,
and it fell flat.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't deny Essex a new fire truck because it is a safety issue. The old ones are kind of rickety.
So it is interesting. If you go to other parts of the country, I think New England is very much like town by town by town, and every town has to have its own little infrastructure, and off you go. You get out to places like Colorado, Denver and surrounding communities all do things by county.
Even New Jersey.
yeah.
And maybe we think about this like, okay, our partner is Essex. And yeah, fire trucks probably don't matter, but we've talked in the past about a street sweeper. And a street sweeper is a pretty heavy duty piece of equipment. I think we pay a lot to have it rented. But what if Manchester and Ipswich and Groveland and Rowley all co-owned a street sweeper? And it gets used by us, 3 weeks a year and everybody else, and it gets parked someplace like Groveland where they have a great big heated garage. But I think that's more the model rather than why do we always have to think about, well, if it doesn't work with Essex, we can't pursue it.
Yeah, you're right.
Go further.
Yeah.
So.
That's why I begrudgingly approved the dispatch when we went to county, because that's the trend
Yeah.
that will be more efficient.
And that saved us an enormous
Yeah.
Yeah.
amount of money.
And it works.
I certainly haven't heard complaints.
Let's call the cops and see if they show up.
I've heard people say, we
Yeah,
have to
you've
have
heard complaints?
another ambulance now, and that we have to,
And have you heard any?
our insurance billings don't match what we pay on all the out of town stuff.
I guess I have heard a few complaints, but they're more on it was really great when we had the.
Yeah. Those I've heard too, yes. When I knew the dispatcher.
Yeah,
Mhm.
when you could call.
Let's like Mayberry RFD.
Call dispatch an awful lot of times in order to know the dispatcher. I haven't quite figured out how people knew the dispatcher so well.
Because they drank with them at the Legion.
Exactly. That's right.
I said,
So if you want an inside scoop on what happens with, you know, all this, just get yourself a scanner and listen.
Yeah.
And it is, I will say it is very, very interesting. So dispatch does not have the ground local knowledge of this town and other towns. And so you hear them dispatching and explaining where certain things are, which is interesting. It's probably not like we used to have here where everybody knew exactly where Norwood Ave 1A, B back
Yeah.
deck was. So there's that. And then there's another interesting, which is language. So some of the dispatchers have different dialects, and it is interesting that they have to repeat.
Oh.
So, you know, if they're doing quote unquote a wellness check, they will oftentimes repeat some of the specifics, like we've been to that house 5 times before, and you ought to be cautious about X, and they'll repeat that. So, you know, it's like everything. You have changes and they evolve into things, but yeah, the scanner is an interesting thing. I don't know, I just have a little cheap one and it scans like Middleton and
There's an app.
yeah, there's an app you can get on your phone called Scanner RX. And
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
There's
it's,
one for airlines too.
Fun. You can listen to,
yeah.
you can listen to New York City dispatch.
So you don't go to work each day, you.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
I do. I'm sitting at home in my Barca lounger listening to the scanner.
Okay. Are we gonna set a new record for a length of meeting here or
Yeah,
no?
we have minutes to approve from May, from.
And I think they,
May.
What?
well, the most
You're already in
recent,
May.
they made the adjustment. They had missed attributing to Maury,
Yes.
I saw that.
you know, a intelligent question, which they attributed to me.
And you
And I
knew-
thought, I'm getting all the credit here.
Authorship makes no difference. They just get the info.
I move we approve those minutes.
And I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I think we're up to date on the minutes.
What?
I think we're up to date on the minutes.
Minutes are good.
Isn't that amazing?
We're on a
We're
roll.
doing much better than we
Much
have in the prior year.
Bunch here. Yeah, much.
Okay. So next week, March 19th,
Mhm.
we're gonna do the FinCom booklet. Hopefully you'll have something. And the warrant, and then any remaining budget items, right? Is there anything else?
Some bills from 1870 or
I
something.
know, right?
And then the 26th is basically the same type of meeting to finalize the FinCom booklet and if there's any other last minute budget changes. And then I was wondering should we have a meeting on April 16th?
Why?
Thank you. That's the question. Yes,
I
exactly.
know you guys wanted the auditors and Dan Sherman to come in April.
Oh,
I mean, it doesn't have to be April.
I was thinking of having a meeting before town meeting.
I think that would be useful because you have to open the meeting and then adjourn. it.
So that I thought on the 16th, we might kind of go over what my comments are gonna be.
Oh, an anticipatory meeting before the event.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dry run.
Yes,
Always good.
yes, I think it'd be useful to discuss the comments.
What I'm gonna say, since I'm kind of representing the FinCom.
Yeah.
So this would be on the 16th?
Yeah, Thursday,
Yep.
April 16th, does that work? I didn't do it the next week because the next week is school vacation week and
Yep.
I'm already loaded with meetings that week.
And the scanner may be very busy that week.
Could be. Yeah. And so are we gonna have Dan Sherman and all that
I'm gonna try and get them on the 16th.
16th?
Yeah.
Right.
I'd like to see what he forecasters this year.
Nothing, supposed to be zero.
Pat on the back, I'm hoping.
I move we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Me?
Where's the hour? Mike.